Good morning. We are all very happy to be here to talk to you about a topic that is near and dear, at least to the panelists' heart, and that is how do we mature client offshore maturity relative to customers that have been using offshore services for some period of time. And what we hope to provide is a perspective on why your clients may be pushing you as service providers in new directions along a number of dimensions. I'd first like to introduce in a little more depth the clients. As was said, I'm Paul Schmidt. I'm a partner with TPI. I run our global service delivery practice, and as such I'm responsible for TPI deals that are done across the globe and that utilize offshore locations, obviously in India, but elsewhere within the world. Joining me today, who will do most of the talking and provide most of the expertise, are two other very distinguished gentlemen. Chris Walsh from Telstra. Chris has a very deep background in outsourcing and offshoring, has worked in the Americas, in Europe, and across Australia. He is currently responsible for Telstra's outsourcing strategies and relationship management for all their vendors. In terms of outsourcing, he has worked not only in the IT space, but also within the business process outsourcing space and in developing shared services centers. Before Telstra, Chris has also been deeply involved in the industry with Qantas Airlines and Westpac Bank out of Australia, so that he brings a very broad perspective and many years of experience, more than he probably wants me to say today, in this particular business across many industry lines. Also joining us today is my colleague Peter Allen, also from TPI. Peter is a partner and managing director at TPI, responsible for research, industry relations, strategic development, and really all provider relationships as well. He is also the mastermind and leader of TPI's outreach program to the industry, to service providers, that we like to call our innovation agenda for the global outsourcing industry. The idea of that is that we as an industry have a responsibility, both advisory firms as well as service providers, to advance the state of our industry in order to grow the market. Previously with TPI and still currently to a certain extent, Peter has worked with some of the very major global corporations in developing their outsourcing strategies, including Procter & Gamble, Wyeth, McDonald's, Starbucks, and General Motors Acceptance Corporation. Peter also led TPI's portfolio of BPO businesses from an advisory service perspective. Previously was CEO of Data Dimensions, application software company, and spent many years at CSC and was the major driver of their relationship with JP Morgan. To provide just a bit of context of how we decided to frame this discussion, and I've been in the previous sessions and I know it'll be very interactive and we hope this one will be the same. But we wanted to provide our perspective on why organizations are facing a challenge of moving from an initial or inaugural offshore operation to that next level of maturity in terms of both scale and productivity. Many of the organizations that we've worked with have previously and have had for many years offshore operations happening around the globe and have had multiple relationships with many of you, primarily on a staff augmentation basis, and primarily on a project or a very piecemeal type of basis. What we are globally hearing from our clients, especially in the Fortune 500, is that they are really looking to take that next step to build relationships with you, the service providers, but it's more than just adding more people. That there are a number of dimensions in which they are hoping the service providers can add an additional level of maturity to the relationship. These include deeper capabilities, and by that I mean domain knowledge, true business expertise, in addition to providing perhaps some software coders and project managers in order to further your relationship with these large and maturing buyers. Broadening applications, looking for leadership from service providers in new and emerging markets in terms of BPO services, KPO services. They're looking to buy if they can find service providers that can sell credibly those types of services. Enhanced productivity. I think one of the underlying themes that doesn't get talked a lot about is the productivity factor. In a recent survey we did with our buyers, they expect 2 offshore headcount for every 1 onshore headcount that used to do that job. or may do that job. I know in all of your marketing presentations and your sales presentations, and believe me, we sit in a lot of them, we talk about CMM, we talk about process maturity, we talk about Six Sigma. But the fact of the matter is your customers say it takes 2 of your people to do what used to take 1 of theirs. So when you talk about just labor rate arbitration, that has a huge impact on their perception of total cost. Accelerated performance. How do we get to results quicker, better, faster, cheaper? Global footprint. Our clients are saying, I've done a lot of work of India. I'm obviously satisfied. It's easy to tell that because look at the growth rates of all of you sitting in this room and the Indian market as a whole. But our clients are saying, I also needed to diversify to other geographies. Can my existing service provider be mature enough to help me enter new global locations, or do I need to look for new service providers that can provide that capability? Finally, a tremendous push, I want to measure output, not effort. Ties back to many of the discussions that happened yesterday around staff augmentation and FTE pricing. There's a real yearning by our clients to be able to pay based on your output, not on the effort that you put into it. And quite honestly, we find quite resistance broadly within the service provider community to price our services on that basis. So those are some of the topics, and I'm sure we'll hear some others from the audience later. But we would like to spend a couple of minutes with Peter and Chris, having them share their perspectives on the maturing market. Peter?